I'm Jono.
And I'm Ian.
And we are Bike Gearheads.
And today we're going to talk to you about the Santa Cruz Blur and the Yeti ASR.
Yeah, a little showdown.
A little showdown. This is for our mountain bike guide this year, and we are going to be comparing models from different categories of riding throughout this guide. So check out the link in the description below, and you can see those other videos.
Yeah, so today we're going to focus on the cross-country bikes. We got the Yeti ASR, it's a 120, 115 travel bike, and then the Blur TR, which is their more trailish version, which is the same travel as the Yeti.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll have timestamps at the bottom, so if you want to jump around, if you're only interested in one bike or the other, or our comparisons at the end, you can jump around in the timestamps.
Yeah.
First, we'll start with the Yeti ASR. You were the one that launched that on our channel, so I think you're definitely the right person to talk about this bike. Can you tell us where that bike falls in the line of Yeti? For
sure. So Yeti has 7 full suspension mountain bikes, so a lot for all different types of riders. But we'll be focusing on their more trail cross-country today. So the SB120 is their short travel trail bike, which could be raced in a cross-country race if you wanted to. But really, the ASR is going to be that cross-country race bike. Then if you want a hardtail, they have the ARC.
So this is their lightest full suspension cross-country racing bike.
Yeah.
All right, John, so let's go ahead and get into the geometry, the tech specs a little bit of this bike. Can you just give us a rundown the list of the geo of a size large which we have behind us?
Yeah, for sure. So for the size large, head tube angle is gonna be 66.5 degrees. The reach is gonna be 465 millimeters. The C-tube angle will be 75.5. And then the chainstay length will be 439 millimeters.
Gotcha. Anything specific that jumps out to you there? Does it have a really steep head tube, or is it longer than most cross-country bikes, or is it pretty just firmly it's kind of sweet spot across country?
Pretty sweet spot. You'll see that the chainstay is a little bit longer than the Santa Cruz, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Okay.
So that's just something to think about.
Give us the breakdown in the numbers as far as the suspension goes. What's the recommended front suspension travel, and what they have on the rear?
Yeah, so you can only get it in one setup.
Okay.
Which is 120 millimeters up front and then 115 millimeters in the rear. There's a few different options depending on what level build you get as far as what suspension comes with it.
Okay, gotcha. And this one behind us, I think this is kind of the top of the line one. So this comes with the Turk Carbon, which is their top level.
There is one above that, and that is the Ultimate, which comes with the RockShox Flight Attendant. Oh. So it doesn't have the routing for cables, so that is not an option with that frame, but it will be the lightest option and the most ultimate.
Gotcha. So like Turk is their highest level carbon, but they do actually have another frame beyond just the regular Turk. Yeah, it's the Ultimate without any cable ports or anything. Wow.
Lighter weight.
That's pretty crazy. And then for more affordable, they have the C series carbon. That's a little bit less expensive.
Yeah.
Less expensive builds.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, how about the colorways on the Yeti ASR for this year?
Yeah, so you got Spruce, Greyhound, and Turquoise. And then for the Ultimate, it's black.
Oh. That's probably lighter.
Yeah.
Paint is heavy, it's surprising.
Yeah.
We rode this bike. Tell me exactly what the build spec is on this one.
Yeah, so behind us is the T3 XO transmission. With that, you obviously get the SRAM transmission, then you get the nice RockShox SID Ultimate.
So that's the T3, thank you. If you want to see more details about this, go watch that launch video. And if you have questions about any of the builds in the Yeti ASR line, please reach out to one of our gearheads, or if you want to build up a custom frame set, they can help you out with that as well.
Yeah, but wait, because we're going to talk about the Blur. And we're going to do a head-to-head and weigh them both and see which one's lighter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, yeah, let's get this Blur behind us. All right. And now we got the Blur behind us.
So we do.
How about you tell us where this falls into the Santa Cruz line?
So again, Santa Cruz is a very mountain bike heavy brand. But as far as cross-country bikes, there's not too many. So let's run through that. You have the Highball and then the Blur. And I guess some people could consider Chameleon. Could be a little cross-country.
It's kind of trailish.
But for a beginner, maybe they start with a Chameleon and kind of figure out what they want to do and go from there in the Santa Cruz lineup. So I think it's a versatile bike.
Yeah, definitely. But the Highball would be their hardtail
race
bike for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the Blur has 2 variants. They have the Blur and the Blur TR.
What are those differences?
Yeah, so difference comes down to suspension and then also affects the geometry of the bike. So the regular Blur is 110 millimeters travel up front, and then you have 107 millimeters in the rear. And the Blur TR is 120 up front, and then 115 in the rear.
Gotcha. And which one do we see behind us here?
This is the TR.
Okay. And you personally own a Santa Cruz Blur as well. Is that the TR as well?
Yep, I have the TR.
Gotcha. Why do you think someone would choose the TR over the regular Blur?
Well, I think we're seeing more and more cross-country races get gnarlier, and I think a lot of people want that little bit extra travel. And also people that want to do, big long weekend rides, maybe with friends that have trail bikes. You can still do that and ride most of the same trails as those people.
Nice. So the TR might be a little more versatile.
Yeah, I think so.
But maybe not quite as
not
fast.
As racy.
Not as efficient. Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and go through the Geo as well. We did that on the ASR, so let's talk about that on the Blur.
So I ride an extra large in the Blur, and with that, the head tube angle is 68.3 degrees. The reach is 495 millimeters. And then seat tube angle is 75.7 degrees. And the chainstay length is 437.5.
All right, John, so let's go ahead and get into the frame of this one behind us. They have a couple different ones, and then probably the build as well.
Yeah, so let's kind of break that out first as far as frame. So they have a C, which is their regular carbon, and they have a CC, which is higher end, lighter, more premium.
More premium, yeah. Gotcha.
And as far as this build goes, this is the XO AXS TR RSV.
Wow, that's quite the mouthful.
Yeah.
Can you break that down for us a little bit?
I'll break it down. So XO axis is the SRAM transmission, and then the TR is their trail frame, as we discussed. And then the RSV stands for reserve, which means it comes with the reserve wheels, carbon wheels. Really nice.
Nice, that's a sick build. Yeah. This color behind us is pretty awesome. Why don't you run us through the colors a little bit? Yeah,
so we got matte silver and we have gloss spring green, which you see behind us. Very bright, not for everyone, but personally, I bought the green one.
When we were at Sea Otter, I saw a lot of them out there, so people must really like this color.
They're getting out there. I saw them quite a bit at Whiskey 50 as well. Like people are going for the green. I like it.
All right, John, so that's a pretty good high level of the Blur. Awesome bike. It seems like you like to ride. But let's talk about the comparison of these two models, the ASR versus the Blur. The first thing I think we should go into is how the bikes climb. That's obviously something that XC bikes do well.
Yeah.
But tell us about these two models.
Well, I think it's really going to depend how you spec it. So let's start with the Yeti. It climbs really well, especially the one we had. It has the remote lockout. So on those quick, punchy climbs, you can easily do a twist lock out the bike, and it rides like a hardtail, which is, that's always the most efficient when climbing. So that has the edge there. The Blur TR, you can lock it out, but you got to reach down, lock out the rear shock. So it takes a little bit more time, and you got to be thinking ahead. If you get caught up in a quick, punchy climb, like in the moment, like in a race, you're going to probably lose out to someone on a Yeti with the remote lockout. Yeah. So that's something to consider. But again, like if you want that full-on race bike, you can go to the regular Blur, which has remote lockout.
All right, well, that's the climbing. How about we go into descending? I mean, you said that cross-country courses are getting more and more technical these days, so descending is important on a cross-country bike as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'd say the edge goes to the Yeti because it is a little bit more progressive geometry, slacker head tube angle, and then a longer top tube for the sizing of frame. So you get a little bit longer reach, a little bit more confidence inspiring on the descents. But if you're on a really tight technical course, you may prefer the Blur. So it really depends on where you're riding, how you ride. Like a lot of mountain bikes, you really got to factor that in. One bike does not work for everyone.
Yeah, or in every single area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's smart. And that's one of the reasons with the Geo that you're talking about. You rode the large Yeti, you rode the XL Blur.
Yeah. That's kind of on that. I could go kind of either way with the Yeti, but on the Santa Cruz I couldn't because the top tube is shorter. Like it would just be a little extreme having a longer stem, so didn't want to go that route. And both are really, capable descenders. They both have the same amount of travel, so you're not having a disadvantage there on either one. Like 120, 115 travel is great for a lot of people. It's the perfect amount for cross-country racing.
Speaking of the Geo and the different geographies where people may be riding, trail conditions, stuff like that, our gearheads talk to people all around the country.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to give you some good advice on which one you should pick.
Yeah, and we have gearheads throughout the country too, because a lot of them work remote, so they're in different areas, and you can kind of pick their brains on, depending where you're at, you can maybe find a gearhead who lives near you.
Yeah. All right, John, so let's just make it super simple for people at home listening. Can you maybe tell us who each of these bikes is for?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's going to depend on the geometry, on how you want to ride and where you want to ride, so you really need to look at those geometry charts and kind of determine how you ride and what your trails are like. I think both bikes can work for a lot of people. For me personally, I think it comes down to like the specs you get for the money. Both companies have, huge lists of options. So you can really kind of go through on your budget and what you want. And if you want the remote lockout, you can do that. If you want less travel on the Santa Cruz, you can do that. Yeti, you're stuck with the 120, 115. So that's something to consider. I mean, if you want reserve wheels, like some people will buy a bike just for the reserve wheels. Some people like DT Swiss, they may go with the Yeti because of that. I think having the option for that Yeti and that ultimate build with the flight attendant, no cable routing, like that is super cool, super light. And we'll see here which one weighs, less.
All right, well, you mentioned weight, could be a determining factor. So let's go ahead and get these things on the scale.
All right, let's do it. All right, we're at 25 pounds, 9 ounces.
11.5 kilograms.
And now we're gonna weigh the ASR, see how it compares. All right, this one's 23 pounds, 10 ounces, or 10.63 kilograms.
Winner.
You got the winner, if you want the lightest. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, if you have any questions about these two bikes or any other cross-country bikes on our website, or you wanna do a custom build, please reach out to one of our gearheads. They can definitely help you out.
Yeah, see you out on the trails.